Hi! Here we are again, this time for a 39-minute ghosts workout. Alright, get all your stretching out of the way. It's going to be 39 minutes of intensity. First circuit will be focused on famous ghosts, with more than the last, the 10, 20, and 30-minute workouts have had, so get ready for that. And then we'll have a water break. Circuit 2 will be for house hauntings, especially of the poltergeist variety, and Circuit 3 will be all about jump scares. So we'll be ending with a bang. Alright, the first warm-up will be roll-ups. They're Pilates roll-ups really, but we're doing them Coffin-style. So your hands crossed over your chest. It's like probably the most goth warm-up you'll ever do. And you are rising from the dead so that you can exercise your body. You might feel that way as you start this exercise, that you really are rising from the dead. If you do it in the morning. I always work out first thing in the morning, so like starting around 6 to 7:30 usually. Okay, swaying ball of light. You're basically just going back and forth in a lunge to warm up the legs, and you pretend that you have a ball of light in your hand, in between your hands. Just make the move as graceful as possible to warm up the legs, and it's also just a very light warm up for the arms. Next up will be triangle stretches. About 15 seconds on one side, and then I'll switch. I thought of the triangle stretches because of the planchette that is used on Ouija boards to point you to the letters that you're supposed to put together. And I really like this stretch. I like stretching in general, honestly, but I love how this one just hits multiple places, the backs of your legs and your arms and your obliques. Next is tiptoe walks. A lot of ghosts, not all ghosts are, really loud like a poltergeist would be. Some of them are very quiet and sneaky, so that's why we are doing tiptoes. We are practicing our sneakiness and warming up our legs at the same time. I'm doing that for 3 more seconds before going back to the top with our coffin-style roll-ups. So yes, I usually try to get up somewhere between 6 and 7:30 to begin working out. 7:30 is sleeping in for me. But I love how, I think it's a great way to start the day. Personally, I feel like I have less energy if I do it later in the day. Back to our swaying ball of light. Now the reason why I put this in the warm-ups is because it's a great way to warm up the legs and the arms a little bit, but ghosts are famous for appearing as balls of light sometimes, especially as photographs, or in photographs. So yeah, that's why we're doing that one for 3 more seconds. Now we're going back to the triangle stretches. So good. I haven't tried a Ouija board, at least that I can remember, but if you have, let me know what your experience was like. I have considered trying one before, just out of curiosity. Even though I do freak out easily, I don't know. Sometimes my weakness for scary things is equal to my curiosity, so it's a problem. And we are ending with more tiptoes to warm up the legs a little bit more. It takes a lot of work to get ready to be a ghost. Imagine being a ghost and waking up every day having to do all these things just to be ready to go about your ghostly duties and activities for the day. Yeah, I'm sure that's what they do. They probably wake up every day and do this. Yep. Alright, first up is military marches inspired by King Hamlet. In the play, King Hamlet died in his armor and is sometimes even depicted with a sword. So you're doing military marches. He was a master commander. So your legs just go up, keep them straight as you can, but it's okay if they're a little bit bent. And it's also okay if you want to just lift up your knees. You can hop if you want to. I like hopping. I think it's entertaining. It keeps me from getting too bored. I also like that it's good for the metabolism. It just burns a few extra calories. But if just stepping and rising your leg is enough for you, then just stick to that. And keep your arms out straight as well. See if you can touch your toes or bring your toes up to your fingers. Okay, next up will be side-to-side horse gallops with sword slashes. In honor of the Headless Horseman from the legend of Sleepy Hollow, one of the most famous ghost stories in the world. Written by Washington Irving. So you're just gonna gallop or shuffle from side to side and then slash. So the Headless Horseman, if it's been a while since you read or watched anything about the Sleepy Hollow, the legend of Sleepy Hollow, the Headless Horseman goes around cutting off people's heads because he's searching for his own. And how those two are related to each other, I don't really know. I assume he just went insane. I mean, he also goes around with a pumpkin on his shoulders, so he literally is not all there. Alright, last one. Great job. Next up is sailor/pirate jig for the Flying Dutchman. A whole bunch of ghosts in one ship. So this move is just squatting and then coming up with a little hop, or just coming up without a hop if that's better for you, and a little row and a heel click. So you are dancing all jolly-like. Yay! I'm a ghost on a ship. This is the best thing ever. Actually, can you imagine being a ghost on a ship and you're stuck with the same people forever? Probably. Or at least for a very long time until you can figure out how to cross over to the other side. And ships, you know, you don't tend to have very large sleeping quarters if you're not the captain. You better, I mean, imagine, like, your job being stuck with them as ghosts for all eternity, or at least for a very, very long time. You better hope you get along. Next up, we've got oblique hammer crunches in honor of the Winchester House. This is a very famous house that the owner kept adding on to, sometimes often in very nonsensical ways, under the guidance of ghosts. So hammer crunches, as you can see, it's just lifting up your leg and swinging your upper body over with your arms in the shape of a hammer. And those are hammer crunches. It's great for your obliques. And you can get a little bit of a leg workout there too. I would be curious to see the Winchester House someday. I have a passion for real estate. I did try going into real estate for a while, but just because you are interested in real estate doesn't mean you're a good salesperson. Next is a thrust and parry in honor of the man in gray. So it's a lunge forward with a thrust and then an overhead parry. I like the overhead parry more than other parries that I have seen, because I think that the arm swing is, I think it's a little more cardio. So the man in gray is a very famous ghost who haunts the Theater Royal on Drury Lane in England, and he supposedly wears like a gray cloak and got powdered hair and a sword. So he's a very gentlemanly, harmless ghost. So that's why we're doing the thrust and parry. Imagine that He likes to get as much fencing as possible in while nobody else is around at the theater. Now, Joseph Grimaldi is another famous ghost of that theater. He's also famous for being a clown, and some people have reported being kicked by him in a very playful way, not in a harmful way. So we're going to squat and do front kicks. Haha, I'm kicking you in the butt. It's so funny. So Joseph Grimaldi, he was an actor, but mostly comedic as far as I know. He was again, he was famous for his clown acts and his appearance as well. And his last performance was in 1828, so and he died in 1837, so supposedly he's been haunting since then. Alright, next is throws. It's basically like throwing a baseball. I like to kind of hop and then put my front leg out in a lunge, like a side lunge, and twist while throwing. So you should feel that in your legs and your obliques. You might feel a little bit in your shoulders too. But we are throwing because the Enfield poltergeist, he had a tendency to be fairly violent, and which included throwing things. And that is why we are throwing things. Supposedly, the sisters who reported the poltergeist admitted that it was a hoax, or at least some of it was. But who knows? Who knows for sure? It's still scary to think that something like that can happen. Next, we're doing down dog with toe touches, inspired by the Bell Witch. Down dog, you've probably seen it before. Just keep your legs as straight as you can while touching the opposite toe. It's a great stretch, but it's also good at working the abs and the arms. And the reason why we're doing this is because the Bell Witch is a very, very famous spirit that haunted the Bell family in Tennessee, starting around 1817 and lasting for many years, I believe. And her first appearance was as a really scary-looking dog, which John Bell tried to shoot to no avail. Okay, next we are going back to the top of that circuit with military marches. If you did not hop last time, see if you can do it this time. So, bit of trivia about Hamlet. The setting of the Hamlet production of Hamlet the play, Elsinore Castle, it's actually still stands. It's a real place that you could visit. So, and I would like to visit it someday. I am fascinated with castles personally. If you have seen it, let me know if you have sensed ghosts there. Next up, we're back to our side-to-side horse gallops with sword slashes. Now, here's a question for you. There have been, of course, several films made about the legend of Sleepy Hollow and about the Headless Horseman. There have also been TV shows. There's been the first ones that come to my mind are the Disney cartoon, and the one with Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci, and then that TV show that got canceled. I can't think of its name off the top of my head, but let me know which one was your favorite, or what kind of Headless Horseman story you would write if you were adapting it. Alright, next is the sailor slash pirate jig again. So I didn't actually know that the Flying Dutchman was a merchant ship until I looked it up a few months ago. But I enjoyed the Pirates of the Caribbean version where it's pirates. Well, the kind of pirates. Let me know which one you liked the best, or if you like the way that the Pirates of the Caribbean movie handled it. But supposedly, the sailors of the Flying Dutchman were guilty of some sort of terrible crime, and that's why they were being punished with having to sail forever after the ship sunk in a storm. Until their punishment is up, and who knows when that is. Again, try to get along with your coworkers. You never know when you might end up stuck with them as ghosts. We are back to the oblique hammer crunches, this time on the other side. Okay? Alright. So, a bit of trivia about the Winchester House. It was Sarah Winchester who owned it. She was a widow of a firearms manufacturer. And let's see, how large was it? I used to know that. So she kept adding to it, so that was crazy. Oh, 24,000 square feet. Can you imagine cleaning that? As an adult now, I often think about cleaning houses and how that relates to the square footage that I'm attracted to. Okay, thrust and parry on the other side this time. This might not look like proper fencing technique. I did not actually learn fencing, even though it was actually available at my high school. But I watched a few videos and just adapted it for the purposes of a cardio HIIT workout. So the man in gray, as far as I know anyway, nobody knows who he might have been. But he was probably just a patron of the theater, not really an actor. I asked this question too in the 30-minute workout. If you could haunt anywhere, where would you haunt? This guy must have really loved the theater to decide to haunt there. Wasn't even an actor, probably. Okay, back to the squat and kick for Joseph Grimaldi. So, again, he was famous for being a clown. And apparently his clown appearance was pretty shocking, and maybe disturbing to some people. But you know, it seems like a lot of people are afraid of clowns. I have never been afraid of clowns, and I think I'm pretty easily afraid of plenty of things, but for some reason not clowns. Let me know whether or not you are afraid of clowns. That would be an interesting discussion. We are back to the throws for the Enfield Poltergeist. So, if you did not know already, another very famous horror film, The Conjuring 2, that was based on the Enfield Poltergeist, the legend of the Enfield Poltergeist. And the house is still around, which is interesting to me because even though the sisters admitted that they faked some of it, or so they say, you know, a lot of times houses with notorious history like that end up getting torn down. So I'd be curious about visiting it, but somebody's living in it now. And we are back to the down dog with toe touches. So, here's something about the Bell Witch. She was also called Kate. However, at least one researcher thinks that it was an entity and not really a person, and it lived in a cave. And one of the reasons why the witch was referred to as Kate is because there was actually a woman named Kate Batts who lived in the area, and some people think that she was actually the one doing all the terrible things that the Bell Witch is said to be responsible for. All right, time for a water break for 1 whole minute. You've done great so far, or at least I assume you have. I mean, you've made it this far. Surely you're doing something right. And don't call me Shirley. I can't believe I just said that. If you feel like it, dance a little bit. You can be like the ghosts from the Anastasia movie. I love that scene where they're playing Once Upon a December, and all the ghosts come out of the windows and they start dancing. Oh, so magical. If you're gonna be a graceful dancing ghost, be like the ones from Anastasia. I try hard to be graceful, but I don't usually succeed. That's okay. I like dancing anyway. Okay, creaky stair climbs. This is the first move of the house haunting circuit, and as you can see, it's just knee, up, up. I start with my right leg each time. So sometimes a ghost will begin its haunting, even a poltergeist will begin its haunting with something, not flashy, like just creaky stairs. You feel like you think you hear something going up or down the stairs when there's nothing there. And then it might escalate into something noisier, such as stomping or running around. This is where the poltergeist starts getting a little more assertive. So we're doing fast feet. Ready and go! You can wave your arms a little bit. I like to do that while I'm doing fast feet. It just helps keep me occupied and less focused on the discomfort of doing fast feet. Oh yeah. You can also be a ball of light doing fast feet. It's a funny thing to imagine. So if you've ever heard random footsteps and pitter-pattering that you couldn't explain, describe it to me in the comments. I want to know. Alright, next we are opening upper and lower cupboards. This is something else that ghosts are pretty famous for. You're gonna turn your body toward the screen, squat and twist with your arm out, twist backwards like that, and then as you come up, do it again. So you're opening the lower and then the upper cupboard. There you go. And I like to bounce between sides. You can also just step if that's easier for you. So this is something else that ghosts are famous for. Maybe because it's just a really harmless way of making their presence known and trying to scare people out of their space. They just leave stuff open. Cupboards, drawers, doors, all kinds of things. Yeah. Alright, next up is lunges with pushes. Here's where the ghosts, and especially a poltergeist, might start getting a little upset that you're still in their space. Some people say that they have felt themselves get pushed, even downstairs, by something supernatural in their home. So you lunge forward and push your arms out. And push. And hurt. Ugh. You don't really want to hurt anybody, but you do need to then to get out of your space, right? It's like you were haunting this place first. You didn't give any fleshies permission to come and invade the space with you. Okay, and also please remember, keep your knee at about a 90-degree angle from the floor. Otherwise, if your knee goes too far over your toes, it could really hurt them. Okay, next up, moving/shuffling chair. For me, this is one of the freakiest signs of the presence of a ghost. I've seen videos of it in some YouTube channels that my husband likes to watch. So jump forward and shuffle back while in chair position. See if you can get even lower than me. Obviously, my legs were burning at this point. Yours might be too. But just do your best. I know a chair position is hard enough when you're just staying still, but I mean, if you're gonna scare mortals out of your space, you gotta be willing to work for it, and that includes moving the chair out of the way when they're about to sit down so that they fall down on their butt instead. Ironically, this position is kind of a good glute workout, so they hurt their butts while you are shaping yours. Alright, next is the rocking chair. Nothing quite as creepy as a rocking chair that rocks on its own. So basically, you're gonna be in sort of a C position, or at least it should feel like a C position even if it doesn't look like one, rocking back and forth on your mat or the floor. I like to do a little hip lift just for a little extra ab work. You don't have to though. There's it's already some work involved in just rolling back and forth. I don't know. I think that, you would think that a ghost that wants to rock in a rocking chair might be maternal and loving and therefore harmless, right? I mean, that's something that mothers putting their babies to sleep, but nope, it's just terrifying. We're back to the top of that circuit with creaky stair climbs. This time start on the other leg. I was starting on my right leg, now I'll be starting on my left. And I just put my knees on the mat because that's a hard floor and I try very hard not to hurt my knees. I'm in my mid-30s, I gotta be taking care of my bones. So I feel like this is actually a good substitute for like stair climbers that you see at the gym. That's one of the reasons why I like to do these anytime I feel like I want a stair exercise. Okay. We are back to the fast feet. Poltergeist. Your poltergeist self is getting a little angry. Just a little. Or maybe poltergeists just need to exercise a little bit too. Maybe the poltergeists living in wherever you might hear a sound like this used to be football players or other types of athletes, and the fast feet just reminds them of happier days when they were alive and doing sports. Who knows? We don't judge. We don't judge the poltergeist. It must be hard. But almost done, and there you go. And now we are back to opening the upper and lower cupboards. If you decide to try this, opening real cupboards in your kitchen, maybe consider recording a video for me so I can see what it looks like when you are trying to open cupboards this way in real life. And somebody walks in while you're doing that, like, what the heck? They're like, I am practicing for when I become a ghost. Ghosts have to stay in shape too if they're going to be good at haunting. I mean, imagine that you only have a few minutes while the mortals in your house are out of the kitchen. You gotta hurry. You gotta be really fast about opening those cupboards, plus those drawers and everything else. If you want to scare them away, I am preparing you for your afterlife. You're welcome. All right. I had to finish the other side to make it even. We are back to lunges with pushes. Getting pretty aggressive now. Because you are ready to have your space back. Has anybody ever been in your space before and they just would not leave? And so maybe you felt like you had to push them out? Did you really push them out? And get out! And off with you! Wow, there are a lot of people to push out, I guess, because you just have to keep going and going and going. It's like a conveyor belt of fleshies. I don't even know what I'm saying. But you do have less than 10 seconds left, so there's that. Good thing is that when you go around pushing people, sometimes they don't want to hang around anyway, even if you don't actually hurt them. It's just annoying to be pushed. Okay, now we are going back to the moving/shuffling chair. So, hopping forward, or jumping forward, and then shuffling back. In chair position. Stay as low as you can. Those tiptoes at the beginning of the workout helped prepare you for this one. Oh, but Ari, it's been so long since I did the tiptoes. That's okay. It still prepared you anyway. It was just waiting. It was waiting for the right moment to come out. I wonder how many ghosts have used that as actually do use that as a way to chase people away, though. I feel like it would be a little rude and I would feel bad about doing it. You know, moving a chair out of the way before they sit in it. Of course, maybe they weren't even trying to sit in it. Maybe they were just moving it just to freak you out. Okay, rocking chair again. If you did not do the hip lifts last time, see if you can do them this time, just to give yourself a little bit of an extra challenge. But most of all, just think about how scary you are, how wonderfully, gloriously scary you are, rocking back and forth in a rocking chair when the fleshies can't see you. Ha! All done. You have won. Or maybe not, because now we are moving on to the next circuit, which is jump scares. First up will be squat jumps. Should be fairly self-explanatory. Squat down, see if you can touch the floor, and then jump up. Again, try not to let your... you do need to let your knees go out for squats, but try not to let them go out too far. So, you're hiding behind something. It could be a couch or a bed or something else. And then you come up with a boom. Ooh. The element of surprise really helps with scaring people. And if you just keep going up and down and up and down, you're definitely going to freak out whoever is watching you. Not only because probably you'll look really creepy as a ghost, but because they'll be like, this ghost is clearly insane. They just keep going up and down. Not sticking around to share a space with an insane ghost. That would be insane. Okay, next is shuffle jumps. So you're just going to shuffle from side to side and then jump. So think of these as sneaking around. You go Sneak, sneak. Boo. Sneak, sneak. Boo. This is helpful if the person that you need to scare is on the move, or if they're just very alert and you need to sneak around. You might be sneaking around behind bushes, or tables, or couches again. Couches are great for hiding. And boo! One more. Boo! I want to hear you shouting boo! If you're at home. Because you are practicing being a scary ghost. You have to believe that you are scary. Next up, burpees. Stiff arm burpees. Go down, jump back, and jump back, and jump up. This is for the ghosts that hide under couches and beds. You know, when you get up in the middle of the night and you walk past a bed or a couch and you feel that sensation like something's about to come up and grab you. That's these ghosts. This is what you are right now. Congratulations. Once you were the scared and now you are the scary. There's a horror movie title for you. The Scary, coming to a theater near you. One more. There you go. Top of the circuit, we are back to the squat jumps. So much jumping in this section. So good for you. You're welcome. And of course, if you ever need to modify, you just take out the jumps. Get ready to be scary. And go. Boo! I think I read somewhere once that boo is actually Latin for surprise or something similar. So if you don't want to yell boo, you can yell surprise! Surprise, I'm dead! Or you can just, cackle madly. It's a great opportunity to practice your insane laugh if you haven't practiced it recently. That way, again, you'll be fully prepared for when you're a ghost and ready to scare people. And done! Back to the shuffle jumps, or the sneaky jumps. Whew! So much sweat. Being a ghost is such hard work. When was the last time you thanked a ghost for being scary? Boo! Next time, one sneaks up on you like this, and then goes boo, or surprise, or ha ha ha. You just say, I see you. Thank you for all that you do to keep the world interesting. How boring would the world be without ghosts? Without the hope of having an afterlife? I say that I'm really not a horror person, and that is true. I'm not really a blood and guts kind of horror person, but I do enjoy the supernatural just because there's so much about it that overlaps with magic and fantasy, which is definitely my thing. Back to burpees. Tell me, do you think that this is the scariest of the ghosts in this circuit? Get under that couch. You might think I'm just going to stay down here and I'm going to grab people's ankles as they walk by, but don't do it. Don't do it. This is not time for ankle grabbing. This is time for booing. This is time for surprises. This is time for making people's hair go white with fear. Boo! You can do it. Keep going. You are scary enough. You are scary enough. You are scary enough, gosh darn it. Get one more! Yes! Scariest ghost ever. Congratulations. I knew that you have always dreamed of being the scariest ghost in the whole world. Well, now you have accomplished it. Okay. Time for a cool down. You can stretch however you would like to. but I'm starting off with a down dog, going back to the Bell Witch. This time taking a break after scaring the heck out of the Bell family. I mean, isn't this always how you take a break after you scare somebody? You just go straight into down dog? That's how you do it, right? Now we're doing triangle stretches. Back to the Ouija board. Because it's not enough to scare people by looking like a very strange, gruesome, grotesque dog. You also need to force them to spell things. Other side! Ah, such a good stretch. Even ghosts need to rest from time to time, right? I mean, that's why they call it resting in peace. Except I guess you're not really peaceful if you're a ghost. Alright, swaying ball of light again, just because I think it's kind of soothing, even though you are back on your legs again. Tiptoeing to ta-da! Thank you for coming. Like and subscribe. Please.